The first book.
So today is what?
7.
September 7th, and this is Sitting Deeply, and we are working with and talking about Susanna's World Within, the Creative Spirit series, Book 1, Introspection. And so,
And
now
the information,
recording.
we're now actually doing the deep listening
Mm-hmm.
and combining it with the other things, was working with the new Feeding the Creative Child.
Yeah.
We're actually working with that project, that website.
Uh-huh.
And so we talked about wanting to do it, but it felt like all we were doing is moving everything around in the house. But here we are,
Mm-hmm.
having our deep listening and having that become also creative juices for this website.
Mm-hmm.
You
So-
start out, the first book is Within.
Mm-hmm. Susanna's
The
World
next
Within.
book is Place.
Place.
So we start out inside the cave,
Mm-hmm.
and we start out with the inner part, and then Place is the outer, but it's also showing them how it's the inner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So those that are, if in fact we put this online on, so that there's information about the books, then you are getting behind the scenes
Okay.
perspective about talking about them. Okay, so we have.
Susanna's World is also an outsider book. You want to read what those are?
Oh, yes. Outsider books are outside the curve of daily thought, outside the frame of the mind, outside the character of publishing. But they're inside the pulse of words, and inside the flesh of living, and inside the language of desire, and inside the breath of realization. Makes it a very alive book for us.
Mm-hmm. And this book is that it is outside of the way we usually think of a child's world,
Mm-hmm.
or the way we read books about children doing things and having friends and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about that, but it's all inside.
Yes.
It starts within.
Yes.
And that's a book that's not found easily in this world yet. Okay.
Okay. Okay, Susanna's World Within, Introduction.
Mm-hmm.
You hold in your hands a unique opportunity to share with your children and yourself the journey between the inner and outer world. Susanna's World Within is a book that takes you on an adventure that lasts a lifetime and happens in a moment. The fresh new questions children ask are signals for adults to look closer and deeper at what is being discovered at any given breath of a child's wonder.
It's so good.
This book helps to discover both the inside and outside world. The personal world is given equal value and footing with the outer one by supporting and nurturing the inner voice, its creative musing, and recognizing the contribution children make when they ask questions. That's a good introduction.
It sure is.
I just love that.
And it shows the book, the inner parts of the book, and the character of Susanna, and then it shows the Susanna that created the character.
Mm-hmm.
That her living with her questions, and as we enter the inner world.
Okay.
Does the next page have?
I know
just a
it doesn't.
picture.
I just have a picture too on there, but the book starts with this one, so I don't know what occurred there. But the next page, if you tap it, is Susanna's World is a world of fairies, trees, flowers, and feelings. Susanna's World is a rest from the refusal of real. She loves all that she feels and plays with all that she sees. Susanna is a petite girl of 10, and she loves French clothes and English tea. She plays in a world of color, where her intuitive is free to feel who she is. Susanna is a child who knows. Susanna is a child who values what is important to her. Susanna's world is a round world, and all the colors are free to be as bright and as dark as they want. She plays with the points and measures of words and turns them into feelings.
And that part of the darkness she wants is a very important piece in Susanna's world.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we had worked with other children with our tea parties and our things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and creativity, we had one tea party that all the children were homeschooled, and they were all, you could see that they were used to working hand in hand with their parents, which was really thrilling. And that they actually, we had them create like a border,
Mm-hmm.
and then, then paint inside of it, showing them how they could do that. And one girl was painting, and they all had their paintings, and hers was real dark colors, like black and real dark burgundy and brown.
Yeah. Remember
And,
that.
and it was wonderful. And she was very intense, kind of intense girl, really sweet, but she felt almost like her intensity set her back from the other children. And she felt like when she got done with it, that it wasn't pretty because she used all the dark colors, and what she was really working with was that darkness in her. Was that pretty? And did it have a real worth or value in the world? Because she had associated herself so much with that intensity that she was really that beautiful piece a lot in the world. She was intense and intensely thinking and feeling and in her work. And that was a big thing. We told her, oh no, the world needs your intensity. The world needs your darkness. It needs your pitch. I mean, we think black is dark. I mean, that's a people. That's a whole people in the world. They aren't dark. And so that was a big piece. And so that's one of the reasons it's in this book. Robert,
Uh-huh.
go ahead and read.
Okay. Let me read over that page again. She plays with the points and measures of words and turns them into feelings. She has lots of help from her friends. These friends always care what she wants, and they always help her with her creativity. She is an artist.
So this is a child who turns things around.
Yeah.
And penetrates things, and actually sews through things. So this is a child who's already working deeply as her own creative real self. Okay.
She is an artist and knows that her art comes from inside. So she never closes the door to her heart, which she calls her heart of gold. Her heart of gold is always listening to her dream. Susanna's favorite artist is herself. She loves the fun of painting with her mama and papa, who are artists also. Here she feels the fun of round ideas and talents. Her dream...
This was the interesting part in creating this, is that we first did the pictures, and they had big spaces where we were going to type up, and we did. We typed up words and put it in those big spaces. And then one woman came, and she looked at it, and she said, oh, I think you should write all those words all over the thing. Just write on the book itself. And that it would be fun to follow all the words around the book to see what it says. So we felt, unfortunately, we did that. And then later it was hard to just actually read it because you had all this doing. But the book is for two things: to read and then do the following, because as you follow, you're following a pattern, and that helps the words in the book actually set themselves into your vision. So
Brilliant, actually.
and so it really was what thought was a big mistake. And then we said, well, how are we going to get where you can read it? And then we realized, well, that doesn't have any problem. We just put it below the picture, and you can read it that way. But you can also still work with the patterns and finding them that a lot of children, they game with that. And so, and also later we realized that we also were working with that the words were already set, and they were set in a certain numbers and certain rhythms and certain sounds that actually initiated the codes within that way of seeing into reality for the child, that they could be these things. um, and so what happened is we realized that it kept also protected the book because of the way the writing was on there. What was written was already set.
Yeah.
So you had to, this writing below, children would know if it didn't match the writing above.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it set the book in place in working with publishing, and that was the way what was meant by it. And that was the way it was done. But it wasn't like we thought it out. It just happened that way.
Kind of gives a nod to the child and the adult. You know, the child likes to kind of wander around at the letters and try to trace them and see where they match up, and the adult is reading the text easily so that they can share with the child. So it's a good collaboration.
It works with both brains, left and right.
Yeah. Her dream is big and wonderful, and it includes all she loves. She is a dreamer, and that she receives from her heart of gold, who dreamed the dream of her dreaming. She has big brown eyes, olive skin, and chestnut hair, which she wears long. She loves the sun and sea. She paints the sun and the sea above and below. So now we're working with that above and below of them being in the environment, in their place.
Yeah. And also you notice the colors here are real strong, are in blue, kind of the mercurial blue,
Yeah.
the yellow, and the red-orange,
Yeah.
which is the alchemical. The yellow would represent the salt.
She stories each painting into meaning and loves to share it with all her friends. In Susanna's world, her heart of gold bear is her wise advisor. She loves her heart of gold and guides her to its dream.
And you see that between the two pages, she's reaching out over a distance to reach a Bhutan. He's not like right up there.
Yeah.
He's come across a bridge kind of thing, or even maybe a cliff with a rail. And he's got his backpack on, so he's traveling.
Yep.
And he's traveling to her, and she's traveling to him.
Right.
And that's the relationship that that we should have with the divine. We realize the divine is traveling towards us. So her wisdom, her totemic, and her wisdom and her guiding bear is traveling to her as she travels to it.
That is
That's
so.
Oh, like the Michelangelo's creation that the divine is reaching to.
Yeah.
It's repeated again, that pattern.
Spark of creativity.
Love that.
But you're not really alone.
Yeah.
What you seek seeks you.
Yes.
I love that. Yes, he is what she would say is a guiding bear. He is yellow with his Mr. Peeper glasses, purple trousers, red suspenders, red vest, and a little beret.
So he has all the alchemical colors there, because he's a very alchemical bear.
Yeah.
He's about change, recognition.
He wears a backpack on his back where he carries all his toys of creativity. His name is Bouton d'Or, which is French for buttercup or little gold buttons. Buttercups are his favorite flowers because they are the beauty of all that is inside. They support the shy, quiet child, like Susanna, who loves being alone in her time within. Susanna is not too shy, but she loves time with herself and her world within. So here they are climbing through and moving through the buttercup.
And all the blue.
And all the blue.
The blue of air and the blue of water. It's here.
So as they deepen into their adventure, these next two pages are they're entering the cave. Bouton d'Or is so introspective And that means he goes inside to make things real. He goes inside Susanna's heart of gold, where her dream resides, and carries out and comes out with more ideas to make it real. That is how bears are in the nature of things.
So when you want to make something real or manifest, you have to go inside.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a bear a totemic that knows this. A bear is a totemic that knows the cave.
Knows the cave.
Knows how to see in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Can guide you through the territory, the inner territory. Bhutan Dior carries all kinds of things in his pack. You see, he is an artist-writer bear who loves books, colors, flowers, berries, music, and tea by the sea. In Susanna's world, the real of you is important. Her relationship with all she meets is round instead of flat. Susanna and Bhutan have many days of adventures into the world of tea, music, flowers, books, and art. They love Georgia O'Keeffe and her introspective window into flowers. They love poetry, rhyme, puppets, and funny stories like Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are. They love Beatrice Potter and her gentle expression of animals. Beatrice brings their round sound into Susanna's world.
So you have the carrots and the my call.
Mm-hmm. With the auricular sight, the inner.
Auricular sight.
The inner.
And here's like this is like the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Here. See how that is shaped like the eye, and like this.
Oh
is
yeah. Like
that's
the optic
almost
nerve.
like the optic nerve. Or
Yeah, it is.
And this over here, my call, is like the pineal, that relation between between the thalamus and the pineal, because that's working with the sight.
Yeah.
And those are, the carrots are like the, they talk about the crystals in the pineal.
Yeah. And then carrots improve your sight, vitamin A.
And then the star right below it is like the pituitary, taking it, the hormones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is really, underneath it is showing the child what's happening, imprinted in the sight.
Thank you for pointing that.
So that's great.
Inside Bhutan's backpack are paints, brushes, canvas, and a journal. He never goes anywhere without the journal, his journal.
Did you get a bowl of things, or did you not?
You ate them.
Oh,
and I
you
ate
ate
'em.
them? I
We
didn't
both
have a
ate 'em.
bowl. You ate them.
I just put them on my plate.
Oh.
There were strawberries and strawberries
I'll take
and.
another blackberry scone.
Oh, me too.
And,
Me too. We're
I'll-
gonna go pause for just a moment, everyone.
For a little refreshment.
There
I'll
you
take
go.
some more of the chicken.
Okay.
I like that a lot.
So we're back. Let's see. We're on page. I'll reread page 24 of Susanna's World
We're
Within.
continuing with the red
Mm-hmm.
and the blue. Instead of
It's
the blue
threaded
being-
throughout the
red
whole
is-
book.
Yeah, but the red is larger here.
Uh-huh.
There was a little bit of red, but more water, more air.
Mhm.
more-
And the one thing that's fun about these books is that we always did them so that the lines at the edge of one page continue on to the line of the next page. And it goes throughout the entire book that way. So inside Bhutan's backpack are paints, brushes, canvas, and a journal. He never goes anywhere without the journal because he never knows when he'll be inspired.
I love that.
And then on this page, the paintings that are on the wall of the page are actually Susanna's paintings that she did herself. And then we drew them small. We just copied them, the pattern, into the page. He has large pockets on his jacket so he can always carry a small book to read. This way he is never waiting. Susanna loves Bhutan Dior's fun with her imagination, and in her world he is always more. Now we're diving down, we're getting ready to dive down through the flower itself. In Susanna's world, there is so much to learn and do. There is so much not yet felt and so much not yet known that the reason for life is great. Bouton d'Or is her guiding bear through all the world of life as it unfolds for Susanna to be the real of herself. She has so many questions, so there are many answers. She wonders how does one know and feel what is real and what is not? These are very good questions, Bouton d'Or tells her, because she is learning introspection. What a big word and a big opportunity. Bouton knows because he is a bear and bears are the introspectors of life. Bouton is definitely a bear of introspection. What is introspection? Asked Susanna. Introspection is going inside to see what is real and what is not, to make more for life.
And look, they go inside. You see them going
There
down
they're going
inside.
down
Oh,
through the
yeah.
center of the buttercup, diving down through, head first.
Cool.
Susanna is now 10, and this is her time of introspection. This is her time to feel and learn what it is to be real and how to know the difference. Bouton d'Or is a writer and an artist as he sets to work to create a way to show Susanna the difference in color, line, and word, so she can see the difference too. He knows that when Susanna can see the difference in color, line, and word, she will know the real of you inside.
And don't you love him on the U?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
The
That is
real
what a
of
great
you.
character he is.
It's like he's coming in
Mm-hmm.
on his spacecraft.
Yeah.
Whoops. The real of you is where he starts. From the rest, real unfolds, because if there is a real of you, there must be a place of real. And there you have the real you right there in that
And
drawing.
inside the R, the
Mhm.
little house.
Little
Mhm.
house, that's so sweet.
If there is a place of real, there must be a reason for why some thoughts are real and some thoughts are not. So much led to another that Susanna's world within unfolded book after book. Each book unfolded another question and another answer. The dream to be became the life of Susanna's day. Susanna became a child of difference, with many new ways of looking and seeing what it was that made her happy.
I love that with him and the star.
See this?
Mm-hmm.
And then-
Wow.
Yep. So each
Oh, that's a house.
each question is in a book.
It's
Mhm.
interesting on that page two, let's see, 32,
Mhm.
or you're starting to introduce the idea of corrugation, within unfolded book
Yes.
after book.
Mhm. Mhm.
And each book unfolded another question and another answer. So that's really how you corrugate your life to you.
Mhm.
How you corrugate.
Yes, and they're learning that one thing builds the next thing.
Yes.
And the things are all connected.
Yeah.
And there is one of the books in Susanna's world that we haven't we've finished writing it, and so we haven't finished painting it all, or it's not published.
Mhm.
But it's how everything is connected. There's like a tree that comes across the page.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And all these things are on the tree, and they're all this tree of life, and how everything is building everything. And then there's another one that has the zebra, and it's like where she lives, and
Mhm.
it has one pattern. All these patterns make her home. That's in the books we haven't published, but they're beautiful.
Isn't that amazing that in the photography when we were working with the St. George River and those photographs, we turned them from horizontal to perpendicular.
Mm-hmm.
But in that book, we took a horizontal tree and put it, a vertical tree and put it horizontal.
Because we
Oh.
wanted more room.
So it's rotation.
And
And-
she's on the tree.
And in this book, on the last page of the illustrations, you see the the paintbrush, the two paintbrushes with their lines, yellow
yeah.
and blue,
Oh yeah.
but also out of the top of Susanna's head are the blue lines of thought, and there's one of a connection to her guiding bear, and one that goes into her environment over on the other page.
Wow.
Oh, neat.
So, so the thought and the execution of it through creativity is what that's about. So that's that book.
And that's it.
And let's look at the back.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it's 33 pages.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any more?
Oh, that's
There's a
33
little bit.
steps.
Oh, there's
Good,
more
thank
here.
you.
There's a little bit more here.
Yeah,
So
34.
Yeah.
there's. I'll go ahead and read it. Clarity is Robert and Suzanne Hake, artists and writers who always work creatively together. Susanna's World Within is the first book in a series that supports the intuitive, creative spirit of children. This is a book that gives children and adults a rounded way of seeing in the world that does not flatten the sound of dreams. Susanna's World Within was created by Clarity in collaboration with their daughter, Susanna Woodbury. The photographs of the real Susanna in this series of books are taken between the ages of 6 and 15. The 20 books of this series were written, illustrated, and photographed over the last 15 years. In these 15 years, we have continued to collaborate as these books have answered our questions, supported our creativity, and given voice to our intuitive life. Susanna is now a mother of 3 boys, Ethan, Daniel, and David, and a girl, Isabella. She tells us that Susanna's World Within has given her a foundation for her voice and creative, intuitive nature, which helps balance her life and gives wisdom to her motherhood.
I love
Some of
that.
the other books from the series will be forthcoming are The Real of You, The Place of Real, Real Thought, Inside Your Wings, Dreamtime Oracle, Green World, The Land of Me, The Deep Mystery, Emily in Color, which is in reference to Emily Dickinson, Inside Your Goddess, Inside Your Person, Dream of You, Susanna in the Grove of Trees, Degas, The Painter's Zebra, The Night Sky Garden,
That's the books in it.
Water Under Her Thoughts, The Day Sky Garden, Wind in Her Words, Coming Home, and Susanna's World of Christmas.
God.
So
I
we
love them
still have a
books.
little work to do in the 30 years that we've been working. We still have more of these to complete.
Gosh.
Allow the climb.
Mm-hmm.
Be full of wonder.
Wow.
These are when Susanna was learning to work with the Dreamtime
Mm-hmm.
and the little fold-out board that we had created, which now Robert and I paint on,
Mm-hmm.
for her to do her Dreamtime. And then this is her reading with her Halloween costume she made that was supposed to be like her being Kuan Yin.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the Dreamtime man sitting with her. And she's reading the book on the goddesses.
Isn't that so?
And she's sipping tea out of her
Her
Clint
Clint-
artist cup.
Oh my gosh. How
No,
fabulous.
that was fun.
That was fun.
So that's an introduction to that book. And we may put this on. And that's just behind the scenes of us talking about it and how we are moving forward with more of the book, especially as we are introducing people very soon to our new website, feedingthecreativechild.com.
And part of that creativity was we went to thrift shops and yard sales, and she'd pick all these clothes to create
Mm-hmm.
the character that she was. And that was so fun.
And she changed out of those outfits 1,000,000 times in one day. So she was really doing a lot of inner work, a lot of imagination going on.
Then we used to help her clean it up because it really was work, so we appreciated it.
Yeah, we realized that it's not just, well, it is play, but she was at work like we were at work, so she needed help.
So that's the first book. Do you
Mhm.
want to look at the second book?
Sure.
Y'all feel like it?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put it on pause for a moment while I go to the computer and get to the next book.
Published
So-
September 3rd, 2011.
Yeah,
And it's September 7th, so it's kind of like it's
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
so you have a
anniversary
year.
almost.
Isn't
10
that
years.
awesome?
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years in
10
presto.
years.
Wow. So here we are with Susanna's World, The Real of You. It's book 2 in the Creative Life series, Creative Spirit series, Dream Travel, Okay. Introduction of this one is Susanna's World, The Real of You is about real, what real is, and how you go about knowing real and feeling real. It is about
Yeah,
dreaming.
it doesn't say dream time, it says dream travel.
I know, I realized that.
Okay.
Dream travel.
That
So,
kind of confused me.
I
for
know.
a minute.
I got confused myself. It happens. It's about, okay. Susanna's World, The Real of You is about real, what real is, and how you go about knowing real and feeling real. It is about dreaming and taking time to give value to your inner responses through loving color and shape. Bouton Dior, Buttons of Gold, the artist Rider Bear is Susanna's guiding bear in
And
the
there's
land
your
of real.
alchemy clue.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that takes the alchemy to gold.
To gold.
So he's a Dreamtime bear.
Mhm.
Buttons of gold. He pushes the button, takes
Mhm.
the gold.
Wow.
But that's the alchemical.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
Through Bouton Dior, Susanna is supported in her real life adventures. The adventures of climbing up and down the vine of inspiration before birth, and how, even now, she does that through imaginings and insight. Susanna, being not only a character in the series of the books, she is also a real person, our daughter. Through her questions and our search for the answers for ourselves and her, these books evolved. She has been and still is the inspiration and collaborator of these books. She now shares the world not only with you, but with her own 4 children. The Real of You. Bouton Dior, as the bear of introspection, went deep inside to feel how he would best create a way to show Susanna what it is to be real. Since he was Susanna's heart of gold bear, he knew all that Susanna dreamed, and loved all she dreamed to be. And here you're seeing on a red background, a very green spiral of the environment of the world.
Moving through the alchemy.
Moving
of
through the
fire,
alchemy of fire, yes.
of desire.
Mm-hmm. He was her guiding bear, so he knew he needed to find a way that would show her the feeling of what real felt like. You see, he knew if one does not feel real, one can never know real. And if one can know
So we've
real...
already started the 10 of 10 now.
Mm-hmm. And if one can know real, one can always recognize the real of you. And here they are sitting on a leaf on the spiral having tea.
I love that picture. Aren't they so
That's
cute?
adorable.
Mm-hmm. Having a little spot of tea on their travels. This, he thought, would be a good beginning. He would write a book for Susanna and call it The Real of You, which, of course, we're inside of right now. So he really did do it. On the day he finished, he started. Because on that day, he and Susanna sat down for tea, and their adventure into the real of you began.
That color combination is just beautiful.
So
Isn't that
here they are
wonderful?
going into the deep.
And
Yeah.
I love his little walking stick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and the little backpack with the vest.
Mm.
Once before you were born, and your eyes were open and big
Now, you
with...
see, this part before
Mm-hmm.
was the wrap. Oh, 50 wraps.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
50 wraps.
Oh, that's...
This
Yep.
is the wrap
Oh my God.
that we put around the original inside story that we used with Susanna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Susanna is the one who lived and created the story of the wrap,
Mhm.
Bhutan and her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember that when we were reading it, it was written for that moment in time. And so there was no Susanna and Bhutan
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
Right.
Susanna was learning about that journey. She was in it,
Yeah.
inside of it. So, and it wasn't until we finished all the books that then I realized that the character of the book was starting to, that it needed something that connected all of them, a character.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we did that until we came here. I remember
Yeah.
a specific time
Mm-hmm.
that we started making the story of Susanna in Bhutan. We were just in Georgia. I think we mainly were just in the information that was direct to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was over in Camden that I realized that we had to create something that connected them all. Maybe it was in Georgia. I just don't. But anyhow, that's when all at once I started seeing Bhutan and Susanna, and that they would introduce all the children into these books.
Mm-hmm.
But the book in this level doesn't talk to them because it's actually talking to the child.
Yeah.
It's reading it.
Yeah.
So no longer in the middle of the book do you hear them. They are at the beginning and the end. They are the racks.
Mhm.
Rack.
Yeah, they
Mhm.
swaddled it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so that there was a character that children felt swaddled in, that they could enter this world, this very personal world, so that the book itself talks to the child.
Yeah.
I love that.
Once before you were born, and your eyes were open and big with wonder, there was a time that you dreamt of in your sleep. This land was free and full of all your dreams and the wonder of all you could be and would be.
I
Kind of
love
a little-
this little tea party and the
Mm-hmm.
yellow brick road
Little
and
brick,
the
yep.
little gate.
Mm-hmm. Going on the
Oh, I
adventure.
love this one.
The time was special because all the special parts of you were real. In this real and special place was color and sound so full of light and happiness that you knew you were in a time before birth. And that's like a light at the base of a lighthouse there. So it's giving light in the dark. This time you have never forgotten, because in this time you were one with yourself, your sense of self, one with its sense of the God Goddess.
So, and this is the big painting
Uh-huh.
that's up on
We
the
have
third
that.
floor.
Yeah, we have
Mhm.
that painting
And
on a door.
yeah, isn't that wonderful?
This
That's
Mhm.
like
looks
the
cool, too.
divine being.
Uh-huh.
Because
To
it's
see.
like one big painting.
Yeah,
When it's close
yeah.
together.
I know.
Mhm.
That we drew across the page.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this painting, you notice that it could be either female or male.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mhm.
it's not like it's got a face. It's roundy,
Mm-hmm.
but it could be a male divine being,
Uh-huh.
and it could be a female divine being. So that's what we did that.
I love how the words landed on your sense of self is in the center there, kind of right below time. Mm. Okay, the next page. You knew this time as a land of enchantment, and in this land all ideas were full and supported all you are.
And see, here's all like the little eggs,
Mm-hmm. Over there on the
like Easter eggs.
on the right.
going-
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Ascending
But
or
they're
descending.
like out there in like
Mhm.
eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Here, all things have potentials beyond boundaries of not. In OT.
And this is a real important
Mhm.
pattern to see, and for children to take in, and a concept that this is a place beyond boundaries.
And you're starting to see the papered awareness being shown, and also the corrugation,
corrugation,
of those
you're right.
pages.
Look at that,
So
and the
you're
creases.
seeing the patterns coming up out of a book.
Yep.
So the ideas are expanding like a bloom or a blossom coming up out of the stalk.
And then this one kind of wrapping around, creasing.
Mm-hmm.
So this
That's
is
almost like a
all-
scroll. That's like more
Mhm.
ancient.
This is
like
all
a
the
scroll.
papered awareness
So it's all
that we're showing.
in there. At last, you were told it was time to unfold all that you had dreamed as a butterfly unfolds from its cocoon. They're
I
getting
love
ready
this
to be
one.
born. Yep.
The little flags.
It's like prayer flags almost. Or,
Mm-hmm. And
and
this piece down here at the bottom.
mm-hmm. And the one over here is kind of like a pan flute in a way, so it's a sound.
I always see it as like a little plane.
I do too.
And then look at the
And then the
egg.
the emblic egg.
But
Yep.
also could be like a dragonfly kind of.
Yeah, very much so. Yep. So you climb down through the spiral of birth until you reach the land below that you now live in. So you can be real and have the feelings of love, expression, and creativity.
You see, here we're showing the black and white,
Mhm.
and you're climbing down you're climbing down the spiral through the spiral of birth, and it's also that ascension and descension.
Mhm.
The black and white and the steps of descending and ascending.
Yes.
It's all in there.
And then the newborn, how supposedly they just see the black
That's
and
all
white
they see.
is what they identify.
Mm-hmm.
I don't quite believe that, but it's what they've managed to say so far.
I love this conial spiral that goes up.
Uh-huh. I love that too. Spiral of birth. You have never, though, forgotten this time or land, and each day, when you dream, create, or daydream, you climb back up the spiral to reach into your treasure from above. And here you'll see all the stars of the golden ideas, and they have little paper doll tags where you know the little outfits that you press and fold around the shape of the doll.
Yeah.
And these are all money, little dollar bills or
Oh yeah, that's
something.
what you
So
did.
because of the wealth of the dreaming,
And that's like the sulfur.
Mhm.
Also all the
yeah, that's deep spiral, the conial presence there. And bring them back to the land below so you can make them real as you in the expression of feelings. So here, as you're bringing those back down, those ideas that have value, you see the S of the dollar sign with the two bars, but it's not anchored and locked into just financial money, but into green wealth, green of Gaia, green of
green
life,
world.
green world,
Expression
expression
of feelings.
of feelings.
There's so much here, and it's
And the little garden fence.
Yeah, oh my gosh, it's so mycelial.
Mm-hmm. Very mycelial. When you feel, you know more of who you are. When you feel, you know more of what you want. When you feel, you know more of how to love. There is no ogre in the land above.
I love that.
And there's the land
That
above
is huge.
with the
concept.
little
Yeah, it is nice.
portal windows looking out into even more expanse, more vistas, the endlessness of infinity. The
And
land.
that's like
oops.
the the castle. It looks
Yeah,
like
the castle.
and
Yep,
then
the
up here's
castle's there.
The eggs, the emblic eggs.
Uh huh.
And that's it going up into the land above, like in Jack and the Beanstalk,
Yeah.
where you go and he meets the giant, which is the higher self,
Mm-hmm.
the large of himself. We get overwhelmed. I talk about it in that language. To reach for, I write to survive. It's like coming into that larger self and not being afraid of it because it seems to know more than you know.
Yeah.
And it you feel small, and so you have to learn to collaborate, and you find out that is not an ogre,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a
Which
huge
is pretty big step. Yeah.
step. So this is a huge concept to share
Uh-huh.
with a child.
With a young child,
And
but
when you go back and when you feel you know something more of who you are, all these are steps you take to know there is no ogre in the land above. So then you can go back and forth with your highest self and collaborate and
Mhm.
corrugate and come back and forth. So it's a huge concept that's done very simply, but is an imprint that will exactly
Very big.
Yeah.
assist.
so when you feel you know more of how to love, there is no ogre in the land above. There's only you and your sense of the god goddess. So let the Jack and you climb the vine of being you and find more treasures to share with the land below that you live in. So here you have the spiral. You're moving through the spiral, very much like in the Egyptian spiral, the continuation around the days of the Duat.
Oh yeah.
So this is just a continuation, the movement, continually moving, the vining. So, and find more treasures to share with the land below that you live in, and allow the back and forth of the climb to be full of wonder and ease.
That's wonderful.
After all was read and all was thought about, we'll turn to the next page in a minute. Here's more of that.
Now here's where
the
the wrap
levels of the
happens
colors.
again.
Yeah.
So
After
now
all
you
was
have Susanna and Bhutan back, because this one
yes,
is the last of the message to
Spirally.
the individual child.
yeah,
And then
they land
this
back
enters
into
you back into Susanna.
yeah. So after all was read and all was thought about, Susanna looked deep into Bhutan Dior's eyes and hugged him tight. She was so happy inside. Bhutan Dior was so proud of his effort and found that his effort was always rewarded in Susanna's happiness. So here they are together, having completed their journey, and you've got the big paintbrush with the number 10, or the 10 of 10.
And then the other is the 8.
And the other is the 8, and that's with the pen, with the, the dipping pen. So writing and painting coming together, the limniscut and the completion. Yeah. Next, they snuggled and felt the real of their love for each other and sipped their tea by the sea as it roared its deep sound beyond the water's edge. So they come to where the earth and ocean meet, which is that between space of
And
the
they're
emotion
all wrapped
and
in
the,
each other.
and the
You
foundation.
See them
Yeah.
Yeah.
there? And then the vine, the plant coming out of
Mhm.
her.
Mm-hmm. See, that's her thought blooming. And then that little starburst above that other flower.
Looks like a little insect there, or butterfly, or
Sitting on
bee.
Yeah.
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 Oh, it's so cute.
Uh-huh. Oh, and that was the end of that book.
Yeah. And then on the back it says, Susanna's World of Real You is about real is
Oh.
and how you go about. This is the back of the book.
Oh, okay.
You go about knowing real and feeling real. It is about dreaming and the adventure of climbing up and down the vine of inspiration before birth, and how even now you do that through imaginings and insight. That's the back of the book.
Ah.
Wonderful.
Thank you for finding that. Wow. That's wonderful, sweetie. I think we've done a lovely day of this.
Mm-hmm. So we'll start with the place of real the next time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So-
and then we can do dream time,
Yeah.
and you'll.
So we'll continue introducing everyone to the books. And there'll be more on the new website. We'll have videos and conversations about them. So it'll expand the storytelling even further.
Okay.
So thank you for listening.